So I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but every time I attempt to film it outdoors, it's too windy, and my camera is very sensitive to the wind, and the sound quality is just awful unless it's a perfectly still day. So I've taken it indoors, and what I'm going to do is an experiment. I'm going to cook my lunch using the food as the fuel. I got the idea from watching a video by Crazy Russian Hacker, and what he did was he took a can of tuna in oil and he basically made an oil lamp out of it. Now, oil lamps have been used for thousands of years. Here's an example of a Roman terracotta oil lamp, and what they would do was fill it with olive oil, put a wick, and light the wick, and this would give off a considerable amount of light and heat for a long time. What the video I saw did was utilize the same principle. He took the tuna can and he put a paper filter on it so that it would absorb the oil, and then he lit it, and he was able to, you know, warm his hands on the flame produced, as well as cook his food at the same time. Now, I thought that was a really great idea, but I want to take it a step further if I can. So my idea is to take my Esbit Cookset, and basically it's just the base, and it comes with a pot and a lid. And let me bring you down and show you what I'm going to do. Okay, here I've got my can of tuna, which I've opened, and it is packed in oil. Obviously, this won't work if it's packed in water. So I'm going to take the wicking material, which in this case is just a napkin. Let that soak up the oil a little bit. Okay, that's going to be the fuel and the food, because I'm going to eat that tuna once it's cooked. So now the tuna, let me just clean up the little mess I made here. The tuna will go in the base of this Esbit stove. Okay. So on top of that will go the pot filled with water. And here's where I'm going to get a little creative. The upper lid, I'm going to add some rice. So, over that, I'm going to put a little cheesecloth that I'll secure with a rubber band so I don't lose any of the rice. I'm going to fill my cup with water, my pot. Okay, so here's the idea. The tuna will be the main protein course. It's going to be cooked under the paper napkin, which will act as the wick, which will boil the water, which will produce steam, which will steam the rice. I will then use the water to make my tea. That's the idea anyway. Let's give it a go. So I'm lighting my wick. Okay, that's starting to catch nicely. Let that go for a minute. Okay, pot on top. Too soon, I think. Not enough oxygen. I may have to lower the can down a little bit. Let me do that. Alright, I've lowered the can a little bit so it gets a little more oxygen. That should do it. Let's see. Yeah, it hasn't gone out now. Alright, so that's looking good. Hopefully, if this works, the water will boil, the tuna will cook, and the rice will steam. Okay, it's going very nicely now. I'm putting the rice on. And let's show you the whole shebang here. Tuna is going. Well, that's really, really going nicely. I don't know if the rice, as it steams, will affect the taste of the water at all, but I will, as I said, make a cup of tea out of it, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, this has been going now for about 5 minutes. The room has developed a pleasant tuna smell. I'm really curious to see if this works. Okay, it's been going about 10 minutes now. I don't recommend trying this indoors actually, because it does generate quite a smell from the burning napkin, but it seems to have settled down now. It's not spitting as much. I do have a fire extinguisher handy in case this gets out of hand, so no worries there. But the pot is getting hot, and hopefully it'll be boiling soon. Let's check on the water. Just starting to get some bubbles. The rice is here, down below, under the lid. I think there's plenty of oil in this can to keep this thing going for at least a half an hour. So I don't think I'm going to run out of fuel before the water's boiled and the rice is steamed. It does splatter on occasion like that, so one has to be mindful of that if you're doing this indoors. I have to say, using this tuna as fuel, using the oil in the tuna as the fuel source, is working out surprisingly well. I've got quite a rolling boil going here now, and you can hear the rice. Still hard, but we'll see what happens. I really like this Esbit Cookset also. It comes with a Trangia type stove, and it also has this adapter that allows you to burn the solid fuel tablets. So it's very versatile, and not that heavy, not that expensive, and I'm really enjoying using it. You could probably do this experiment too with a couple of old cans, food cans, as long as you can get one to fit on top of the other and cut the bottom one out so that it has enough air to feed the fire. Alright, about 12 minutes in, and the flame seems to have gone down a bit. The paper is almost completely gone, so I don't know if that's going to be a problem or not. I'm certainly not going to add any more paper at this point. But we'll just let it run and see what happens. We still have a good boil, and it's giving off some good heat. Let's take a look at the water. So there's plenty of steam being generated there. Hopefully the rice is coming along. I don't want to keep disturbing it, because every time I lift the pot I lose steam. I'm starting to despair a little bit. We're starting to lose our flame. I don't know if the oil is all gone or what, but it certainly is a lot different than it was. Well, the flame is still hanging on. Nothing like it was initially. This is either going to be very good or not very good at all. Well, I think we're losing our flame. Just a wisp of a flame hanging in there. It's more like a wick now. As long as it's burning, I'm going to leave it. It's been about 28 minutes and our stove is out. Our tuna stove is out. The water definitely boiled, so I will be having a cup of tea. But the main question now is the rice. So let's plate this up and see what we have. Okay, the water's plenty hot for tea. Actually having yerba mate, which is from Argentina. It's not tea at all, it's a different plant altogether. It's got a nice flavor though. Well, there's the tuna. Gonna try a piece. Very good. Tastes like tuna steak. It's given it a nice crispy coating. It tastes almost pan-seared. I like the tuna. The rice, however, is a complete disaster. Still pretty much as dry as it was when I put it in. So that didn't work. I probably would have done better on reflection now with a boil in the bag type rice that's already pre-cooked, so I would just have to heat it up. I think this requires a lot more time and moisture than I gave it here. But live and learn. At any rate, I do have some nice grilled tuna. I have my yerba mate tea. And once again, thank you guys for stopping by. And I consider this experiment to be a partial success, but something I learned from, and it was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one.